Hello there everybody, this is Graham, also known as Collector75, and welcome back to another Transformers review. I finally managed to get all my CRAZYDEVY parts for Devastator, so I'm going to be doing a complete CRAZYDEVY Devastator review. I've got to admit, this is one set that I saw a few people do on YouTube a while ago, and I thought, well, yeah, I could do with getting some of those bits, but I found it amazingly hard to actually get the bits. I managed to get some bits from... well, I got nearly all my bits from the Big Bad Toy Store, and a few other bits from CRAZYDEVY, but from Big Bad Toy Store, unfortunately, because with the import duty, it really did cost me a lot. So trying to put this set together does cost you a bit, and I can't really think of how much it actually cost me. But is it worth it? Yeah, I really do think it is worth it. But obviously, you've got to weigh it up yourselves. I had to mix and match some parts, unfortunately, so you will notice some colour differences, because what they did was they did each set they made for one for the original Constructicons, and then they did another one for the knockoff Constructicons that you can get, because there's slightly variances in peg sizes and what have you. And then also they did them in the orange colour for the Generation 2 Constructicons. So I had to get a couple of those bits because I just couldn't get the original bits no more. There we go, right, so you'll see that, but it doesn't make no difference whatsoever, believe me. Right, so where are we going to start? I've already got the Constructicons transformed into their component parts, ready for Devastator, so that's probably the easiest. I'm going to start here. I can't think what you call these. These are the upper thighs, I suppose, from the knee joint upwards. Obviously, this gives it more articulation in the legs, and you can see once they're connected, you'll be able to do quite a lot of different sort of poses. There is one major drawback with this. I'm going to get onto that. Probably a lot more when I actually get the fucker combined. But anyway, we're going to put them on now. They have exactly the same attachments to what we used to get on the single piece that we used to attach to long haul. All we do is we basically just attach them much the same again. We just shove that on there. As you can see, there's a little connector piece on there. It's got to fit on just that tab just down there. Put that on. It's a little bit of a tighter fit, so you've got to be careful. Make sure you don't snap the joint on the actual CRAZYDEVY part, because I've done that once on my original G1 part, and there we go, and you can't combine it after that. Anyway, that's snapped on nice and easy, and it's such a good fit. I don't know whether some of these were for the knockoffs, but I know none of mine are knockoffs, but they fit them pretty well. And if you have to get those parts, and for whatever reason, you know, if they don't fit so much, you can always try and jiggle it around with a bit of super glue or something like that, just build up joints or whatever. So don't worry too much about that, that's what I've found anyway. Right, so here is Mixmaster. As you can see, I've put the purple barrel on him there. Just gives him that more cartoony look. And it fits in exactly the same way. You've got to be careful on these, because if you've got stickers on here, this is actually not my proper Mixmaster. This is another Mixmaster that I just happen to have. It's not a knockoff, even though this colour is slightly off, but I do believe they did make slight variances in colour back for G1. Yeah, so this was just another one I had knocking about, so I thought that's handy because I can just put it in there, which is quite handy. Anyway, it fits in much the same as before, and it's a nice snug fit. The only problem is that when you're bending the knee joint, especially on my one, if you hold him here, he's liable just to pop out. So I just hold the whole joint and it swivels nice and easy. Anyway, so there we go. We've got Devastator's literally legs done, and you can see it looks a whole lot better already. You can imagine putting them in some poses. Fantastic stuff. Now then, from that part from long haul, which we connect the legs to, we don't actually need it in this, but it says to take off the little green guns just screwed in, and you can attach them to these little knobbly bits just on the side there. They just pop on. I think you're supposed to screw them in, but I tried that and I didn't have no joy. So, but they just fit on nice and easy. They're not going to fall off or nothing. Of course, that's optional. You don't have to put them on. Also, it gives it a nice added thing that you can have knee guns if you wanted to, but you can just leave them up there. It gives it, you know, an okay look. Right. So where are we going next? We are going to go to long haul. Here he is, already transformed, and whereas the other part used to connect just in there, which was an absolute fucking pain in the arse. What they've done is they've just replaced the groin shield with this. So you're now going to put that into the groin shield hole even. Yeah, you're going to pop that in there, and it's a nice long joint, so it's not going to fall out easy. You just pop it in, push it all the way, and there we go. And then unfortunately these aren't always as solid as they would be, of course, but I can live with that. Anyway, there we go. We've got his torso done, and then we take his torso shield or waist shield, whatever you want to call it, and we've got the two little pegs. Don't know if you're going to see them there. And now these go into two little holes just in there, which is pretty good. So we've still got that. It does restrict him somewhat on the leg movement, but you know, you can work around it, it's not a problem. Right, the only problem with this, because obviously the G1 figures didn't have, well, they were just going to be literally rigid, so they just had to make sure they balanced him right. Because he's now got articulation, they don't work too well balancing him, and you're going to have major trouble getting him to stand in any bloody pose unless you can prop him up against something. But I'm really going to try and work that out myself. I've got some sheet styrene, which I'm going to use for another figure I want to customise, and I might just make a couple of little sort of like leg bits that are just going to go sort of at an angle just like that, and just hopefully fit in that. Maybe I'm going to paint them purple or green, I don't know yet. And then hopefully they'll just stick there, give him a little bit more back support on his foot, like a heel spur basically. And that might allow him to stand a little bit, but we'll see. Be nice if Crazy Debbie done something like that, that'd be pretty good. Because that is the only thing this figure is lacking, because once it's combined, believe me, it looks fantastic. I'll pop that down there. Can't stand up because he won't bloody stand up without a lot of positioning. Right, we're going to come on to long haul, not long haul, hook even, yeah, hook. As you can see, we've got them transformed. We're going to get the Crazy Debbie parts. Now then, this is the other part that I got with the barrel and the arm section, whatever you want to call it. It's supposed to give him like waist, sort of like articulation. I've just thrown it on the floor, 1 second. There we are. Yeah, supposed to give him like waist movement, but the bloody joints are so stiff you don't bother with that. I only got it because I thought, well, it will give him a tiny bit more height, which is always good, especially for a Gestalt figure. Really good. Anyway, right, so this fits over. As you can see, there is a colour variance. You got, because this I had to get the G2 sort of head, but the head's exactly the same. It was just the colour of the plastic. Can't notice it, so it doesn't make no difference whatsoever. Right, okay, and so now these are going to go on here. Wrong way. There we go. It is a slightly tighter fit. I had a bit of trouble with this when I first put this on here. Oh, but there we go. Oh no. As you can see, it's sort of bending it out slightly. Don't know if it's going to show up too well. So I've just got to angle it around until it don't look so bad. There we go. It's a bit funny. I don't know why exactly. But anyway, it's attached and it's fine. There we go. Yeah, it looks alright. Yeah, once you're happy with it. And the head now is articulated. It's on a ball joint, it will go anywhere you want it. It's still restricted by this bloody thing, but there we go. I can't do much about that. But the best thing about it is that the eyes light up. Let me just show you. There we go. You're not really going to see them too well. There you go. I'm going to cover my hand over. You can see it glowing in there. But believe me, it really does look amazing actually. I really do love that. Right, so then we're going to stick him onto long haul. And eventually, of course, he's got the same connectors just under there. And they fit just on there. Same as usual. Got to make sure, just hold it in the right positions to get the bloody things on. There we go. And then once you're happy, you have hook connected to long haul. There we go. Just try and get these connectors just down a bit more. Otherwise he's going to look a little funny. There we go. Just straighten them up. Then we get the regular G1 shield, and we're just going to put that straight on in there. There we go, he's looking fantastic already. We're going to pop him just down there on my knee. And so now we come to the arms. Right, I'm just going to show you something. With the arms, we get... One pack was the forearms, which are just these, which are giant sort of black forearms now, which do a hell of a lot better. They eliminate one of the problems that we had with the original Devastator, but I'll get that when I do a little bit of a comparison in a moment. And in the next pack, we got his giant Magna laser, which is pretty damn good. We got articulated hands. These are the G2 hands, unfortunately, but believe me, again, don't make no difference. Yep, so we've got a pair of articulated hands. Right, let me just check one thing. Yeah, that's what we got in the pack, just making sure. Right, here we go. So I'm going to get Scavenger here. We're going to get the little arm for him. As you can see, it's got a nice little sort of like triangular piece, and that just fits normally onto the little peg just there. And it's quite a nice little snug fit. It goes on quite easy, but believe me, trying to get it off just now, just before I was doing this review, can be a little bit of a pain. Anyway, it goes on, and as you can see, it looks pretty good. And then we've got the hands. This will fit actually the normal G1 hands, but it does look a little bit funny. Like I say, all these pieces are pretty good because they're designed to be used with the original Constructicons, regardless of which bit you get. If you only have one bit, you could use them all. Some do look a bit silly though, like I put these arms on just the regular G1 and it made him look slightly weird. But with this, it just makes him look brilliant. Anyway, so then we've got hands on him there. All the fingers are articulated. You can see the thumb there is articulated. Fingers move in and out, but they're very, very stiff, so I don't move them too much. But then again, it's better to be stiff than loose, I suppose, because they would just go everywhere. Right, we're going to come to Bone Crusher. There we go. And then he comes with this piece. It's an angled piece, which does eliminate the problem where his arm gets stuck under the chest shield, like we used to have before. So anyway, so we just ease that out. There we go, just ease it into position. And there we go. And then we put the other hand just in, and these stay in lovely and tight, no problem there. As you can see, I've got his hand ready to put the giant Magna laser in. Let me just get a size comparison, because I've got his original G1 gun here. I'll get it out of his hand quickly. There we go, there's the original one. And then there's the CRAZYDEVY one. As you can see, a much larger gun, and looks fucking brilliant. Anyway, right, I'm going to put these arms on. They just go on basically the same way as Devastator, of course. Wait, oh, come here. I'm so much trouble getting that arm off and it's falling off. Anyway, we're going to put them on there. Get on there, you fucker. There we go, he's gone on there. And we're going to put this bit back. Believe me, it does stay on really easy. And I could just put a little bit of super glue, just a bit around it, or just in there probably, if I wanted to tighten it up, so it's not a problem. Anyway, put him on there. And then we're going to get Bone Crusher. I'm going to pop him on there. He stays on okay. And there we have the CRAZYDEVY Devastator. And it looks absolutely fucking fantastic. It's given now the original G1 figures, which were kind of blocky and not very articulated. And it's given them a much more cartoony feel, like you would see in the comics. You can put in some brilliant poses, and he just looks phenomenal. I'm going to put the gun in his hand, just easily fits in there, and hold that quite easy. One problem is, no, it's probably down to the fact that obviously the joints are just old and G1, but this one that doesn't too bad, so you can articulate that arm pretty easy. This one still is going to get caught by the chest shield. Actually, no, it doesn't. Yes, it does eliminate it quite successfully. There we go, see? And then he can raise his arm full up. It's just that the joint is very loose, and so it probably won't stay up that well. Oh, I've got it there we go. But it just looks amazing. And then we turn the little light on. It's probably not going to show up too well again. No, you're probably not going to see it. But it just looks fucking brilliant. And you put him next to some of your other combined figures, and he just looks amazing. The only way I've managed to get him to stand up actually is you've got to angle the legs just back, then rotate these forward, just so he ends up being, because he's very back heavy, and obviously with the feet with no heel spurs, it will just fall over every time. But you put him into sort of like that angle, and he usually stands. Usually, you've still got to work on it, especially on my table because it's completely shiny, unfortunately. Unfortunately, he does have a big gap in his body, but maybe they'll make another chest shield just to cover that up. But whether they do or not, I don't think it matters too much, because this is an amazing figure. Let me just do a quick comparison with the original Devastator. I've got the G2 Devastator, because that's the only one I've got using my original ones. As you can see, he's not that much taller, but he's tall enough. And of course, this guy now with the arms look very small and puny actually, compared to this fella. And of course the head now has gained a more cartoony look. But still, this fella just still looks amazing. I'm not knocking the original one at all, because I still think it looks fucking brilliant. But they've taken something great and made it better as far as I'm concerned. It really does look great. In my next video, whether I upload it next, I'm going to be doing the CRAZYDEVY Predaking. That is a different story. As well, everyone knows the problems we have with the wings on that one, and the feet plates. And do they really add something to the figure? It's hard to say. You've got to make your own judgment on that one. It's completely different from this. Is brilliant, because it was, I suppose it was quite easy for them to do it, but with Predaking wasn't so easy, and it does run into a few problems. So anyway, oh yes, the other thing I got, and I wanted to show you, I did get as well the upgrades for Bruticus, which came through the post the other day. which gives him larger guns at the back there. That was the only upgrade they've made for him so far. Maybe they'll come out of a head, I don't know. But these are actually really great. I haven't got the guns on me to actually show you, but obviously the normal guns are like down here. They've got these and they're articulated. You can push them forward, backwards. Pretty damn good. You've got to like take the whole thing apart though and replace the guns. And mine had a little bit of trouble fitting. I had to jiggle it about a bit just to get it to fit right. But then again, sometimes with stuff like this, you know, like third-party stuff, that's all you've got to do really. It doesn't always fit together properly the first time you're going to do it. You get it. So you got to work at it and don't give up. But that is actually pretty good. I like that set. It was only about, I don't know, what's that, 20, it cost me about $20, which is about 13, 14 quid. It's a lot for what it is, but if you're prepared to pay it and you don't mind it so much, it's not bad. Whereas stuff with like the CRAZYDEVY, that was expensive. Don't know, maybe £100 for all of them. And is it worth it? I don't really know. Not on some of them, but I just fell in love with it and I wanted it, and I'm so glad I got those bits now. Predaking stuff, when I come to that, that was very expensive, and I don't know if it's worth it, even though some of it looks fantastic. But does it ruin your figure? That's another question. Anyway, right, this has been grand. I collected 75, and again, I think I've gone on far too long. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now. Cause